Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a journey way back, millions of years.
That's right. Middle Triassic period, to be precise.
And we're looking into a really fascinating reptile, Arizonasaurus.
Yep. We've got scientific papers, descriptions, all the good stuff.
Our goal here really is to figure out what makes this animal significant. Why should you listen and care about it?
Well, its discovery is kind of like finding a key puzzle piece for understanding how early reptiles evolved.
We'll be piecing together its story, right, from the very first hints
Just fragments, initially.
to the much clearer picture we have now, thanks to later discovery.
Exactly. We'll look at its classification, its physical features, and yeah, we have to talk about that sail.
Oh, definitely. That sail.
And, the world it lived in.
That sail is just, it's the kind of thing that really grabs you.
It really is.
But what's really wild is that Arizonasaurus, with this, pretty complex feature,
Mm-hmm.
it shows up relatively early in the grand scheme of archosaur evolution.
That's the kicker. Having that kind of structure, that sail, so early on, well, it forces us to rethink when these big groups started experimenting with features like that.
Yeah, it really shakes up the timeline a bit. That's a huge takeaway, I think, for understanding early reptile evolution. Okay, so let's start at the beginning, the discovery. How did we first even learn about Arizonasaurus?
Well, the story starts back in 1947. Samuel Paul Wells was the one who formally described it.
And he named it Arizonasaurus babidi.
That's the one.
Yeah.
But that initial description, it was based on really scarce evidence.
Like what?
Just a few teeth and a piece of the upper jawbone, the maxilla. That's it.
Wow.
That first batch of fossils, the holotype, it's cataloged as UCMP 36232.
So for 50 years, give or take?
Pretty much.
Our picture of this animal was based on just these few fragments. That's kind of amazing in itself.
It is. Paleontologists can work wonders with fragments, but yeah, it's limited. You can only infer so much from teeth and a jaw piece.
Right, you don't get the whole picture.
Not at all. But then things changed dramatically.
Okay.
In 2002, Sterling Nesbitt found something much, much better.
In the same area, same geological formation.
Yep, in the Moenkopi Formation, he uncovered a much more complete skeleton.
Ah, okay. That must have been huge.
Oh, absolutely transformative. Suddenly, we could actually reconstruct the animal properly, see what it looked like, how it moved, how it fit into the whole evolutionary tree.
Right, from just hints to a much fuller story. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. What did this better skeleton actually show us? Let's talk about the obvious thing first, that sail.
Definitely the most striking feature. This more complete skeleton confirmed it had this prominent sail along its back.
How is it formed?
It was made of these really elongated neural spines. These are basically bony projections sticking straight up from the vertebrae.
Extensions of the backbone.
Exactly, taller than usual. And these would have been covered in skin, maybe blood vessels, forming this very visible sail structure.
Incredible. Almost like something out of, I don't know, a fantasy novel, but real.
Pretty much. And, it wasn't entirely unique in that regard.
Ah, right. Our sources mentioned others.
Yeah, that's a key point. Its sail looks remarkably similar to sails found in other early archosaurs, especially others in its own family, the Ceratosauridae,
Like Tenosaurus?
Tenosaurus, yeah, and Brahmsgruvea, Hypsilorhakis.
Yeah.
They all had similar elongated spines.
So this sail design, it popped up a few times. Or maybe they all inherited it.
That's the question, isn't it? Did it evolve once in a common ancestor of these Cenosaurids, or maybe independently in a few related lineages? And what was it for? Display. Temperature control.
Still debating that one, I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The function of these sails is still a hot topic.
Okay, so the sail is the big thing. Any other notable physical details from the fossils? You mentioned brain cases earlier.
Yes, there are descriptions based on 2 different brain case specimens found.
Yeah.
What's interesting there
Yeah.
is that some features look quite ancestral. The term is plesiomorphic.
Meaning older, more primitive features.
Exactly. Features that are considered ancestral for the broader group Crurotarsi. That's the big group leading towards crocodiles.
Yeah.
So it gives us clues about the early sort of blueprint for that lineage before modern crocs evolved all their specific traits.
Okay, so a sailback, part of the croc lineage, but with some older features retained in the skull. That paints an interesting picture. So where does this actually place Arizonasaurus on the big family tree? The one that includes crocs and eventually birds.
Right, let's zoom out a bit. It's definitely an archosaur.
Yeah.
That's the huge group, including crocs, dinosaurs, birds, pterosaurs.
Got it.
More specifically, it's on the Pseudosuchia branch.
Pseudosuchia, that's the croc side, right? As opposed to the Avimetatarsalia, the bird dino side.
Precisely. And within Pseudotsuchia, it gets nested further down. It's in a group called Paracrocodilomorpha, and then even more specifically within the family, Tenosauridae.
Tenosauridae. Okay, so that's its immediate family. Who are its closest cousins in that group?
Well, as the name suggests, Kunisuriscus is a very close relative. They, along with Arizonasaurus, Brahmsgravea, Hypsilorhakis we mentioned earlier, they form the core of this Kunisuriscidae family.
Okay.
And this family, the Kinisocrosticids, they are thought to be closely related to another group called the Papasaurids.
Papasaurids. Okay, another cool name. What connects those two groups?
There are several shared features. Technical term is shared derived characteristics, or synapomorphies.
Stuff they both inherited from a common ancestor that other groups don't have.
Exactly. Unique traits linking them. Plus, details in the pelvic girdle, the hip bones of Arizonasaurus, show similarities not just with Kunisuriscus, but also with others like Lodosaurus, Brahmsgravea, Hypsilorhakis. It reinforces these connections.
So studying these shared features helps map out the relationships.
Definitely. It's like paleontological detective work. And actually, more recent studies looking at newly identified pseudosaurian features. They provide even stronger evidence that the Papasaurids think Papasaurus, Silosuchus, Chatterjea, and these Octonosteuricids, including our Arizonasaurus, they form a natural group together, a monophyletic group.
Meaning they all descended from one single common ancestor.
Correct. And this larger group, called Papasauridae, likely branched off from an even bigger group of early archosaurs called Rauisuchians.
Wow, okay. So it's like nested boxes of relationships.
Yeah.
And there are diagrams for this, right? Cladograms?
Yep. The sources mention a cladogram from a 2011 paper by Butler and colleagues. It visually lays out these relationships within the archosauriforms.
Like a family tree?
Exactly like a family tree for ancient reptiles. It shows Arizonasaurus tucked neatly within Sinesasaurus, which itself is part of this bigger Papasauridae group within the Pseudotsuchia.
Helps visualize it all. Now, drilling down even further, were there any features totally unique to Arizonasaurus itself? Something that really sets it apart even from its closest tenosaurid relatives? You mentioned a fossa earlier.
Ah, yes. That's from Nesbitt's detailed 2005 description again. He pointed out a very specific feature. Let me find the exact wording. Ah, here. A deep fossa hidden from view on the postereventral edge of the upward pointing process of a specific bone.
Okay, don't need the bone name, but basically a unique little pit or depression on one of its bones.
Pretty much. It's these subtle anatomical details that act like unique identifiers, helping distinguish closely related species, like a fingerprint.
Amazing how much info is packed into those details. Okay, so we know what it was like, roughly who it was related to. Let's talk about when and where. What does its existence tell us about the bigger picture of the Triassic world?
Right, context is key. Arizonasaurus lived during the Middle Triassic. The date is around 243 million years ago.
And we know the where pretty well, too.
Yes, fossils are found in the Moenkopi Formation of northern Arizona, hence the name Arizonasaurus.
Makes sense. And finding it there, then, what's the significance of that?
It's actually pretty significant for understanding evolutionary timelines. Finding a papasauroid this group Arizonasaurus belongs to in the early Middle Triassic.
Yeah.
It suggests that the big split in the Archosaur family tree, the one between the bird line and the crocodile line, must have happened earlier than some previous estimates suggested.
Wow. So Arizonasaurus is like a time marker, pushing back the date for that fundamental divergence.
Exactly. It helps calibrate our understanding of how early these major lineages went their separate ways.
That's a really big deal.
It is. And there's more on the where side, too. Discoveries of Tenosaurids aren't just in North America.
Now, where else?
We have finds from Europe, Asia, even Africa.
So they were really widespread.
It seems so. It tells us that these kinds of reptiles had a pretty broad distribution across the supercontinent Pangaea during the Triassic. It paints a picture of a more interconnected world, faunally speaking, than we might have thought.
Gives us insights into ancient biogeography. Very cool. And the Moenkopi Formation itself, what was that environment like?
The animal life, the fauna found there, is considered transitional.
Meaning?
Meaning it sort of captures a moment between the faunas typical of the early Triassic and those that become dominant later in the Middle and Late Triassic. It's a snapshot of evolution in progress during a really pivotal time for reptile evolution.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. We've got Arizonasaurus, this amazing sail-backed archosaur from Middle Triassic Arizona.
Yep, firmly on the crocodile side of the Archosaur family tree, a pseudo-sushi.
And that 2002 discovery was key. revealing the sail and letting us place it properly with its relatives, the other tectenosaurids and the papasaurids.
Right. And its existence has these bigger implications,
Pushing back the estimated date for that huge bird-croc split.
and showing us how widespread these animals were across Triassic Pangaea.
The real aha moment for me is that combination, the incredible sail, which seems so specialized, but appearing so relatively early. It really challenges any idea of evolution being a simple, linear march toward the complexity.
Absolutely. It's a great reminder that evolution tries out all sorts of forms, and sometimes seemingly advanced or unusual features pop up quite early on. Nature's full of surprises.
It definitely is. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If Arizonasaurus, maybe not a household name, but clearly significant, if it can shift our understanding of these massive evolutionary events and the distribution of ancient life,
Yeah.
what other unexpected clues are still buried out there? What other creatures are waiting to rewrite parts of the story of life on Earth?
That's the exciting part of paleontology, isn't it? There's always more to discover.
Definitely something to think about.